Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Matt, and today I wanted to talk about learning languages through only speaking. This is something that I've seen before where there's some people, especially like on YouTube, that will kind of advocate only learning a language by speaking, or really advocating a very heavy speaking method or output method. And I really don't think it's the best way to approach language learning. And it can be a little bit disingenuous trying to push this idea to people that you can learn a language to a very high level with only speaking. The important thing to think about is, language learning encompasses a lot of different skills, whether that's vocabulary acquisition, listening, speaking, whatever. And, it really helps to not neglect certain aspects because in the end of the day, you're going to probably run into a plateau because one of those areas is lacking. And, the fact of the matter is, if you only focus on speaking, chances are you're only going to really have very rudimentary and elementary conversations with others. And I think a lot of this kind of stems from just memorizing some phrases so that, you can sound cool, or, can get around in a country. And that might be fine for your purposes, but if you want to move past that very elementary level, you gotta focus on the other aspects of the language, whether that's word acquisition, because if you don't have the words under your belt, you can't express yourself fully in more complex and more interesting subject matters, etc. And it also is important in terms of understanding what is being said back to you, right? Not only do you need to know the words, but you got to practice that listening skill, because if you don't know what they're saying back to you, it's pretty hard to have a conversation. And then, on grammar too, you don't have to be super obsessed with grammar, but I think it's important to speak with, some degree of accuracy, because if it's just a complete jumbled mess, people are probably less likely to want to talk or keep the conversation going in that language, because it's just so taxing to understand what you're saying. You're probably going to still make mistakes, probably going to have an accent, but having at least some accuracy is important. And then, the more grammar skills that you get, the more elegant you can speak and ultimately have more enjoyable conversations. So, the important thing to think about is that while speaking might be fun and really exciting, if you really want to get good at speaking, focus on some of those other aspects of the language, whether that's word acquisition, listening, or whatever. And you can definitely make speaking your primary focus, right? I know it's a lot of fun for a lot of people. Some people are very social and they want to go out there and use the language. They don't want to be stuck in a room, reviewing tables or something. And that's totally fine, because, speaking is a skill in of itself, right? You can be really good at reading and know a lot of words, but if you don't practice speaking, chances are you might have a little bit of an accent, or it might be a little bit shaky. And so, you have to practice that skill to speak very elegantly, to reduce the errors that you make, to express yourself more confidently. And you can definitely make that a focus where you get really good at speaking. But just remember that you need to have those other aspects eventually to move to that next level, whether that's word acquisition, listening, or whatever. And I know a lot of people that kind of watch these videos probably already know this, right? They have a more holistic approach, or they don't fall into that. But I think it's worth at least putting out there, because there is a lot of content out there that I think does push these ideas, which maybe aren't the best, right? It really is important to have kind of a more well-rounded, balanced approach to language learning. And ultimately, if you do those things, longer term, you're going to ensure that you make more progress and you have more fun in the language learning process. So, like I said, I know a lot of people already kind of know this, but I think it's worth putting out there. But let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.